What if one decision followed you for the rest of your life? Not a small mistake, not a bad day, but one choice that changed everything. History loves victories. Headlines celebrate success. We applaud medals, wealth, power. But behind the applause, some people carry something much heavier: regret. Tonight isn't about fictional tragedy. An athlete who chased glory and lost everything. 3 lives, 3 decisions, and one quiet question that lingers in the background. If you were in their place, would you have done anything differently? Back in 1976, inside a modesty California garage, 3 men started a small computer company. 2 of them were young, intense, and ambitious: Steve Jobs and Steve Watt. The third was older, more ecutios, more practical. His name was Ronald Wayne. Wayne had already experienced business failure. It was to provide structured drafting contracts, mediating disputes, offering adult supervision. For that, he received 10% ownership of the new company. The company was Apple. But just 12 days later, Wayne made a decision that would define his legacy. Afraid of personal financial liability if the company failed, worried that creditors could come after his assets, including his home, he sold his 10%, stake back for $800. Later, he accepted another $1,500 to formally give up any future claims. At the time, it seemed rational, responsible. Even years passed. Apple exploded into one of the most valuable companies in the world. That original 10% stake would be worth tens of billions of dollars today. Wayne has said he doesn't lose sleep over it. He insists he made the best decision he could with the information he had. He knew his temperament. Iknu, Ewasan T, built for the relentless pace and risk-taking culture that defines Steve Jobs. Staying, he says, might have made him miserable. And yet, he understands the magnitude of what he gave up. Financially, it was the most expensive decision of his life. His story isn't about stupidity. It's about fear. The fear of risk, of instability, of repeating past failures. He chose safety. And sometimes, careful choices carry enormous, hidden costs. It makes you wonder how many opportunities we've quietly stepped away from, not because we lacked ability, but because we feared uncertainty. Years later, and in a completely different world, another man stood on podiums wearing yellow jerseys, celebrated as a symbol of human resilience. Lance Armstrong had survived cancer that spread to his lungs and brain. Then he returned to professional cycling and won the Tour de France 7 consecutive times. To millions, he was proof that the human spirit could conquer anything. But behind those victories was a secret. For years, Armstrong used performance-enhancing drugs. And for years, he denied it. He attacked critics. He sued journalists. Teammates who spoke out were discredited. When the evidence finally became overwhelming, his titles were stripped, sponsors fled, his reputation collapsed. In a televised interview, he admitted the truth. What he later described wasn't just a single bad decision. It was a system, a culture, a mindset where winning justified everything. But over time, his regrets seemed to shift. It wasn't only about the doping. It was about how he treated people. The intimidation, the lawsuits, the damage done to those who challenged him. Losing titles was devastating. Losing trust was worse. Armstrong had built his identity on dominance and victory. When that collapsed, he faced a different battle, one where there was no finish line to cross and no crowd to cheer. His story isn't just about cheating. It's about what happens when success becomes survival, when image matters more than integrity, when pride locks the door on honesty. If the world rewarded you for a lie, how long would you keep telling it? And then there's a story far removed from boardrooms and cycling podiums. In 2004, a 16-year-old girl in Tennessee named Centoya Brown shot and killed a 43-year-old man. Brown had been trafficked and abused. She had run away young. By her teenage years, she was being sexually exploited. She later said she feared for her life that night. She believed she was in danger. Arrested and tried as an adult, she was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Behind bars, something shifted. She earned her GED. She took college courses. She joined ministry programs. Over time, Her case drew national attention. Advocates argued she was a victim of trafficking who had acted out of fear. After serving 15 years, she was granted clemency and released. Her regret is layered. Regret for a life lost. Regret for the chain of circumstances and decisions that led to that moment. Regret shaped by trauma, fear, and survival. Unlike Wayne, her regret can't be measured in money. Unlike Armstrong, it isn't measured in trophies or endorsements. It carries the weight of a human life, and yet her story also carries something else. Transformation. She has spoken about confronting her past, about how painful but necessary it was to face what happened. Some regrets destroy a person, others reshape them. Psychologists say, regret is one of the most powerful human emotions. We replay alternatives in our minds. What if I had stayed? What if I had told the truth? What if I had walked away sooner? We tend to feel losses more intensely than gains. And over time, many people say they regret the risks they didn't take more than the ones they did. Regret lingers because it reminds us of something uncomfortable we had agency. We chose, sometimes wisely, sometimes poorly, but permanently. Ronald Wayne chose safety over uncertainty. Lance Armstrong chose dominance over honesty. Cyntoia Brown made a choice shaped by fear and trauma, one that changed multiple lives forever. 3 different paths, 3 different consequences, all deeply human. Regret doesn't automatically mean someone is evil. It means they're aware that a moment mattered, aware that time doesn't rewind, aware that decisions echo. Right now, you and I are making future memories. Some will become pride. Some may become regret. The question isn't whether we'll make mistakes. We will. The question is whether we'll pause long enough to choose consciously. Because once a decision is made, it becomes a story. And one day, we may have to live with it. If this story made you reflect, subscribe for more real human stories.